too hot out here. It said 101 on his dash of his truck, which tells me it's probably 108, 110 with the heat index. It is insanely humid. Like, it is crazy. And then the bummer part is that they've got a vehicle parked right up underneath the majority of the stuff. Bunch of broken stuff. This fell out. Fell on the concrete here. Is that top broken and just laying there? Huh. Oh wow. Yeah, look at that. Let me see if I can get it in the camera. That entire top right there is just laying in there. It's broke. Snapped right there and just holding. So that's freaking miserable out here. It is so hot today. Alright, so the only reason we're here today is because Jake saved the day. We're using his truck because mine is crapped out. So we got this to do. It's a broken, storm damaged Hackberry. A bunch of hanging stuff up in it. A bunch of broken stuff. This fell out. Fell on the concrete here. Concrete is all cracked to hell. So this is definitely messed up already. This is not going to be from us. So before we start, I figure I'll show all this. Also, I was told they don't care if anything gets smashed like that. They're not concerned with this red bud. They said they'll be taking it out eventually, so if anything out of it gets broke. And then the bummer part is that they've got a vehicle parked right up underneath the majority of the stuff that's left. Not a whole lot left on this side. Everything broke. So I'm gonna go up in it. It's gonna be a funky one to climb because there's really no good tie-in for it anywhere. And then I'm gonna have to deal with that broken stuff that's all up in it. Is that top broken and just laying there? Huh. Oh wow. Yeah, look at that. Let me see if I can get it in the camera. That entire top right there is just laying in there. It's broke. Snapped right there and just holding. So that's gnarly. That sucks. So I'm gonna get started and yeah, we're just gonna get it done. Okay. It's freaking miserable out here. It is so hot today. So there's what we got. My bad for not recording. It was just, it ended up being way sketchier and scarier than I ever thought it was going to be. Stuff was tangled really bad, under pressure, saws were getting pinched. It's just, I didn't even call down for my camera. I just didn't think it was worth the attention that I had to give to it. I needed all my attention on this. So we're gonna go empty the load and then come back and work on it. So I'll record some of that. I'm gonna try to record this. It is so hot out here. I got a pretty good feeling the camera's gonna overheat because it's directly in the sun. But it is what it is. We'll get what we can. We want what we can't. Oh, come on, man. I messed the angle up already. Alright, so this limb that I'm about to head up right here to that one there, it's the whole reason that I have this climbing set up. It's almost horizontal, so it's very difficult to do those limb walks, especially when you have a tie-in point that's so far away from you. So that's the reason that my climbing setup looks a bit different. It's actually a 3-to-1. I want to spin that whole damn thing so bad. Now, if you heard me there, I said, man, I want to send this whole thing so bad. That goes for both of these stems. The one to the left and right. You can see there's where I'm climbing on the Petzl Gree 2 and with the 3-to-1. The reason I can't send this one that I'm about to head up in one is it would literally destroy that red bud. So I mean, I am gonna play a few limbs kind of into the red bud a little bit and roll them off of it, but and I have permission to totally destroy the red bud, but who knows how long it'll be before they actually take that red bud down and widen their driveway. So I'm not looking to make an eyesore in the yard, so I want to be as gentle as I can on the red bud without having to be going all the way out on the absolute tips. So I will play a few limbs kind of down and roll them off the red bud, but it doesn't end up damaging anything on the red bud. It ends up being pretty good, but the tree has pockets of dead all throughout it, and it made it really difficult to gaff and spike into it because like randomly there would just be a pocket of rock. So here I'm just looking to get some good work positioning so that as I cut these limbs and then they kind of bounce me around, I don't get thrown off, gaff out, and end up getting myself hurt. So So as you maybe heard there, I have him go ahead and grab those limbs before I cut anything else because there's one or two of them that are kind of pressing on a few limbs. If I just stack them on top of each other, it's going to break tops out of that red bud, and that's not what I want to do. So move that stuff, clear it out real quick, and then put a couple more. Okay, so same thing here. Clear those out and do one more. The last one I have to cut here is going to be the biggest by far, and I seen how the last one responded, which would be the second biggest lead that I took off of it. So this one reaches out way further over the top of it. I really need this one to swing like crazy, hold on, and maybe even hang it before I cut it. It's hackberry, so there's a good chance I can do that, but I'm really going to have a perfect notch, and it's going to need a very wide backstrap so that it hinges good and holds enough so that I can leave enough meat there. So it's going to be tricky, but we're going to look to swing it all the way around the red bud, hang it for a second, and then release it. Let's see See how that goes. Everything else has been kind of popping off, but we'll see. Okay, so I went ahead and shut the saw off. It's cutting a little almost too quick, and I want to cut this back strap very slowly. So handsaw it is, and hope I want to leave as much hinge as I can, because if not, it's not going to hold. So if you notice that worked pretty good. We were able to hang the limb upside down, release it into the actual foliage and leaves. Then it just kind of laid over into the redbud, and then we were able to roll that out of the redbud. Redbuds are pretty flimsy, kind of bendy, so I wasn't really concerned with it. Now I just need to take a few chunks of wood down, and I'm just gonna send that whole next section in one cut because it's too hot. It's too hot. I'm not climbing all the way out there. I'm gonna chance it and try to squeak it into that little space that is there. We'll see how that goes. So for those of you who aren't really familiar with hackberry trees, I guess if there was a tree I could compare it to as far as hinge wise and tensile strength of the wood and stuff like that, I'd have to say probably hickory. It holds really, really well. It will splinter and stuff and just hang up in a tree for long periods of time. This one is kind of that strange outlier. It doesn't really go with the norm. It's very surprising to me that these huge sections are breaking out of this tree, because that's not normally the case with a hackberry. It usually holds on for dear life. This is one of them trees you definitely have to make your undercuts and stuff. If not, it's slivering and pulling big chunks off. So. Sometimes when you get a tree like this that does hold so good, you can use that to your advantage, by just making your back cuts and letting it swing up under and kind of come back in towards the trunk. The only problem with that is usually your lanyard is attached and it will pull your lanyard. It could rip you back into the stub. So I would look for different lanyard positioning points if you're going to use that kind of technique, or make a safety cut right above where your lanyard is so that the sliver stops before it grabs a hold of your lanyard and pulls it with it. So now I'm looking to I'm just gonna send it. I'm ridiculously hot right here, and I don't know, I'm like, you know what, it'll fit. It maybe it wouldn't fit when I first got up there and I looked at it originally, but for some reason everything has changed, and now in my mind it'll fit. Let's see. How about that? Hoping I can just make some bigger cuts and get down and cut stuff up for you. Okay. I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Send that one. Take that chunk of wood, then I'm headed up there, make a few cuts, and then I'm coming down. Okay. So just do what you can do. Right. No big deal if you can't get some of it. Alright, so coming up is when the camera overheats and completely shuts off. I'm sure some of you are curious, how big is that space that limb just fit into? That'll be the last thing I show you in this video. We'll be doing part 2 very soon. So subscribe and stay safe.